It's called Not Just a Pretty Face or Brains Who Needs Them. I'd like you to think about yourself as I read this to you. For the first time in history, the administrative professional's job description hints at full engagement of cognitive powers. Sure, it takes brains to learn tasks such as a changing ink cylinder in copy machines, but when the job description includes identifying goals for the coming year, meshing them with your executive's goals and department and organizational goals, being prepared to track progress at specific intervals, and being accountable for success or lack thereof, it's easy to tell this is not a job for dummies. You're not a puppet, and someone else is not pulling your strings. You're in charge. You have power. And if you're to attain the inner circle assistant's spot and maintain it, your intellect plays a large part in your success. So if the best career advice you've received so far is to dress for success, get ready to think bigger. And think is the operating word. We're going to explore a couple of key points here. First of all, administrative professionals are no longer order takers and task doers. Thank goodness. I started in this profession in 1970, so I know the changes. I've seen the changes, and I'm happy to see how this role has evolved. What's interesting, though, often when I mention this in presentations, when I say to assistants in the audience, you are no longer order takers and task doers, and you've got to be think and be cognitive, I see their heads go, yep, yes, like, I know, Joan, you're right. What happens, though, when I go on site to a company and I do one-on-one coaching with an administrative assistant, and what that means is I am sitting by their desk for 2 full days, and I watch everything they do, and I listen to everything they say, and I get inside that wonderful brain. I realize they're not looking at things cognitively. So, a couple ideas that I want you to think about as we begin, and for today, is that if you're going to join the inner circle, if you're going to achieve administrative excellence, you have to, first of all, get involved in the business. This is the biggest thing that I am hearing from executives today. I want my administrative assistant to be involved in the business. And I know exactly what they're talking about because I expect the same thing from my executive assistant. So how do you do that? I mean, after all, managers are only going to bring you in so far into the business. And it's not because they don't want to, it's because they're really busy. What you need to do is you need to read what your executives read. You need to really read the emails, not just sift through them and send them off here and send them off there. You need to listen to everything your executive is saying. You need to take it all in and really try to understand what they're involved in and what their passion is and what their mission is and what their role is within your organization. You need to also know their hot points. You need to be fully involved. The way I describe it is that you're not sitting on the sidelines at a football game and helping just kind of leaning things down the sideline. You're rolling up your sleeves and you're getting in the game. And that's a whole different feeling and a whole different perspective than just knowing what's going on. Second, engage all your senses. Engagement. That is a big issue in today's workplace. You can go on the internet and do all kinds of searches. Just type in employee engagement. You will find that billions of dollars are wasted in our country because people are not fully engaged. So yes, we physically show up for work, but are we mentally there? And so when you get into work, you need to engage all your senses, and you need to be engaged throughout the day. Next, make things happen. If we look at this role And again, going back to the task doer and order taker, you know, you're basically told what to do and you did it and you got it done very well, in fact. But today it's different. You're the one that is going to make things happen. Like I said, you're not sitting on the sidelines. You're taking the ball and you're running down the field. You're calling the plays. You have to change your self-perception. I want you to stop for a second. And I want you to think about, how do you see yourself in this role? You know, do you see yourself as someone who has hidden authority and power? Do you see someone as an intelligent human being who can contribute great ideas and be a catalyst for change? Or do you see yourself as someone who is, well, I just better follow the rules and do exactly what I'm told? How you perceive yourself, how you see yourself in this role, is how you're going to behave. Update old habits. Very, very important. I know there are many of you watching this program. Well, hopefully, maybe not. Because what I hear from a lot of assistants is that, why is it that seasoned assistants, people who have been in the profession for a long time, feel like they no longer need to learn? Well, we've got to think for a moment. This role has changed dramatically. Certain skills or certain competencies will never change. What I said about attitude in 1990, I will still tell you today in this program. But there are many things that have changed. And you need to continually update your old habits. So again, this ties back to brains, using those wonderful brains that you have, because I know you have great ideas to contribute. You know what's going on. You're the ones out in that field and you see it. Another is to embrace change. If you're going to be this cognitive being, we need to embrace change today. All of us do. Because change is all around us, and it's going to come whether we want it to or not. The profession has changed, and do you know what else? It's going to continue. I just did a program, a wonderful new program. 3 weeks ago, I presented for a client on site at their organization, and the topic was the AA of 2012 and beyond. Can you imagine what we explored in that program? So it's not stopping here. We're just getting started, and it's going to be great. Also, as a cognitive being, you have to be creative. They say that we only use about 7% of our creativity, all of us, unless you're in a position such as graphic design or some type of work, media director, and maybe in the arts, where you get to use your creativity. But do you know what? You can use your creativity every single day. You don't have to be an artist. You don't have to be a writer to use creativity. All day long, as things are coming at you, use your creativity. How can you streamline processes? How can you save your company money? How can you help work through that issue or that problem? How can you enhance your role? How can you make it more exciting? There are 100 ways that you can be more creative in what you do. Pursue excellence. What's the title of this series? Yes, 26 Weeks to Excellence. But I'm only giving you 26 weeks. You are going to learn as you go through this program, excellence never ends. It is an ongoing journey. I want to share with you a very special story, and I am so excited about this. I met an executive assistant in 2000. And I'm not going to tell you her name, and I won't even give you both her initials. Let's just call her J, the initial J. It's not me. I met this fabulous executive assistant. She was working for a CEO at the time, and she was fairly new into that position. She had been with the company for a very long time. I was actually hired to work with her one-on-one and do some coaching, and then I also worked with other assistants in the organization. Well, I have watched this person grow for 9 years now, almost 9. She has challenged herself. She is truly a cognitive being. She has done all the things I've been telling you about. She is making things happen. She changed her perception over all these years. She is creative. She pursues excellence. She is learning, and she has not stopped since I met her. Now let me tell you what's happened, what is so exciting. She is still an executive assistant for a CEO. However, she has broadened her horizons. She is now a trainer. She teaches my Star Achievement series to their in-house administrative professionals. Okay, now don't everybody wonder what client of this is mine, but I just want to share this with you because I'm going to make a point. Also, she has grown, and I just had a reporter who I know and who has been interviewing me for a great article that is going to be coming out, interview her. He wanted to know what makes a great assistant, and I actually gave him the name of several executive assistants. And this is no small-time reporter. He's someone who is with a major publication and company. But what I want to tell you about that's so exciting, I received an email yesterday from this reporter after he interviewed Jay. Here's what he wrote me. Imagine someone saying this about you. I can't tell you how deeply impressed I was by this magnificent, that's right, I said magnificent, businesswoman. I hand-talked to her for 5 minutes before I was, much to my amazement and consternation, struck by a strong suspicion that I was talking to someone my marked superior, or by marked superior, in intelligence, character, political skill, and business sense. Someone who for much of her life has undoubtedly been vastly underestimated by people who, like myself, ought to have known better. A chastening and sobering experience, I can assure you. This is about an executive assistant. As I said, this would not have happened. Jay's journey would not have blossomed into what it has today. And in fact, I did talk to her this morning before we started this recording. And she said to me, Joan, I never would imagine this for my career. When I sat here yesterday and thought about, wow, how things have changed in my life over the years, I wouldn't have believed this. I don't take credit for this. Jay should take credit. It is because she sees herself as a cognitive being. She sees herself as a value-added partner in the profession. She makes things happen. She engages all her senses. So before you move forward from today, I want you to think about how you see yourself, how you see yourself in the profession. Are you proud to be an administrative profession? Is it your career of choice, or are you just doing it to pass some time until something better comes along? Obviously, I think if you're paying attention and you're watching this webinar right now, you are serious about your profession, and good for you, because it's a fabulous profession. Okay, here's your first week's assignment. Are you ready for this? I've got a couple ideas. Get your pen ready. One is I'd like you to identify how you can get more involved in the business. What tools or methods can you use to learn more about your organization or your manager's work? And I don't care if you've been working for this manager for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. There are miles. There is so much more that you can learn. For 1 week, I'd like you to make a concentrated effort to be a good listener. There are so many things that we learn when we actually listen. I'm not talking about hearing. There is a big difference. This tends to get neglected when we do communications training. I mean, when you look at the repertoire of communication programs, listening is often this big. And yet, it can be the big difference in your success. Another idea I have for you, if you are viewing this with an admin group, I'd like you to list 5 ways that you can pursue excellence and 5 ways to embrace change.